I would think, you could probably use it topically and put the simmered up fluid from it in a warm cloth and lay it on. But I don't recommend taking it by mouth. I really don't. It's too iffy. Even according to Michael Moore, pardon?
Even as a tea?
Because it can feed the cancer.
Yeah. If you don't have cancer or you don't know it yet, I don't know. I don't ever want to steer anybody wrong.
Right,
So I just guess and these books are the most helpful I've ever found. You can pass those around. Okay, this is called mugwort, or a much prettier name is water sage. This is Artemisia californica, and it grows all along our river and out in South Fork, just really prolific. And the drought hasn't touched this at all. I mean, it's one plant it has not affected. And this plant, I use it dried, of course. There's a lot of water in this plant, so you really, really have to make sure it's totally dry. I gather it in bunches and hang it upside down in a warm, out of the sun, dry place. And then I do the process, putting it in the jars and the oil. It's all the same for every pulsing herb. And this is used fresh. If you're out camping and you're lucky enough to camp by a stream or something that has the mugwort, take the leaves, crush them up, and you have the mosquitoes just bombing you. So take the fresh leaves, crush them up, rub them on the side of your face, all over your arms, everywhere. And the mosquitoes do not like this plant. And I'll pass one around, and you can get the smell of it. You can take a leaf and crush it and see what it smells like. Pretty strong. Some people don't like the smell. I love it. It is by far my favorite plant that I have here.
I can smell it already from here.
Yeah.
Don't forget Levi.
And it is used in a poultice or
Take a peek.
a ointment form for poison oak, mosquito bites, red ant bites. It can be used to alleviate most of the pain from nettles. And this grows right next to nettles when you gather it. And so I feel compelled to show you the difference. If you ever want to gather this, there's plenty of it out there. Are these okay to use?
Oh, of course.
To demonstrate? Okay.
Of course.
Breed one, of course. Here is your mugwort. Here is a nettle. They look somewhat similar, but the nettle is serrated all the way down. And also it has the little stinging hairs all over the stem and in the leaves. So these two grow next to each other. One will help with the pain and the stings of this
I wish I knew
nettle.
that 20 years ago.
Yes.
Stinging nettle, the stingers are on the bottom, but can you still touch the top?
Only if it's very young. Only if it's very young. I've gone through nettles and got stung by the leaves, so.
There was one person who taught me that the top of the stinging nettle you can actually just touch without it.
No, I've
hurting.
never done it. Maybe that is true.
I've touched it on the top.
I
Try not to
wouldn't,
touch it
I
all.
wouldn't care to demonstrate, but just to be on the safe side. But no, this is excellent for a bad sun. My daughter once had a real bad sunburn with raised blisters and flaming red, and she's very fair skinned. And she came in, and I had made ointment out of this, and I rubbed it on her back. You could also crush up the plant and just lay a nice cool poultice on that sunburn. And less than 5 minutes, all the pain was gone. Yeah, and the blisters were subsiding a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really good for red ant bites too, because those can hurt and itch for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the Native Americans here, the traditional ones, that is, that practice the old, the old traditions. When they fast, and does anybody know what fasting is? Yes,
Where you go a couple of days without eating or drinking.
that's right. Yeah. And our folks, they don't eat or drink anything. And this afternoon I'm going up, my good friend Vicki Tanner is going in to fast. And to do that, she is required to gather enough of this plant on her way to make a nice bed to lay on in the sweat lodge, where she's fasting in a friend's sweat lodge up in Big Pine. And the reason is this plant is believed to bring on the smell of it, and being around it is believed to bring on your helpful dreams, the dreams that are good for you, that give you some kind of direction in your life. And I have done it. I have fasted twice, and each time it has come through for me. It really has. And I had in my reasoning mind, I thought, okay, well, after 2 days of fasting, I'll be starting to get, maybe my dreams will be kind of like hallucinations or something, and after I feel deprived, whatever. Well, the very first night is when I was visited by my dreams, and so that blew that away, and because I was not in the least bit hungry or thirsty at that time.
So how long did you go on that fast?
Let's see, I went in on Thursday and came out Sunday.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you just kind of rest and.
You rest. You go in, before you go in on Thursday, you sweat, and then you come out and you eat very nourishing things like fruits and vegetables, take in lots of water, fruit juice, things that you're going to be depleted of, the good things. And then after that, you are put in the lodge, and you are asked to pray and sing as long as you can, all night if you can. If you finally fall asleep, that's okay. And we will at certain times in the night go out to sing and support her in case she's getting sleepy. Maybe play a hand drum or something. And that's what happened with my sweat, and it was magic. Whole group came out singing just about when I was about ready to topple over. And but this plant came through. It's also, if you're having nightmares, I've seen this word too, I know it sounds crazy, but if you're having nightmares, we believe you take a sprig of this plant and put it under your pillow. And some people dry these and make little dream pillows, they call them. And and it's a fun little project to make them, and we have an overabundance of mugwort this year, and dry the plant and put it in little pillows.
Oh wow! So where do I go for that?
There is plenty of it on the Upper Kern, but the most you can get in one place is right as you're approaching the South Fork Bridge. It's all along the side of the road down to the creek area, and also right at the bridge. And so I usually gather a little bit ways from the road, so it won't have any of the road affluent on it, But you put this under your pillow, and you will have sweet dreams, or the nightmares will stop. If you want to really push that, steep a few leaves in either dry or fresh in a cup of tea, and you can put honey in it if you want. But that also helps. And I've heard an elder man called me and said he was having horrid nightmares, and he couldn't sleep. He just was a mess. And so I gave him mugwort and told him how to use it. And 2 days later he called me. He said, "No more dreams, no more bad dreams. I sleep like a baby."
Oh my gosh!
So I went, Okay, another one of Rose's little miracles. So, anyway, mugwort is my favorite plant. It is used like spiritually and physically. It's excellent, excellent medicine.
How high does that grow? About 3 feet? Or?
Oh, it grows about this high with the green, and then later in the summer it gets a long, the flower is barely visible, and it gets long and leggy and tough, but you can still use it as long as it's got some green on it.
Huh?
But right now it's at its prime, and
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go out and gather a whole bunch
I am too.
to dry. Yeah, I just love it. Okay, we've
Brooke,
got,
what's your question?
Can
Yes.
you still use mugwort when it's flowering?
when it's flowering, well, it is a fall flowering plant. It's one of those plants that flower in the fall, and you can hardly see the flowers. They are kind of brown and very small at the top of a leggy. This stalk gets really leggy and less green, of course. So anyway, I just recommend getting it now while it's really, really good. And I forgot a very important thing. Before you gather, what we do is we give an offering to each plant family that we approach. Gather with a pinch of tobacco. You could give a pinch of cornmeal, anything, just to pay respect to that plant that's going to help you. And say, you can say it to yourself. You don't have to say it out loud. Just say, I thank you for what you're going to do for me. I really appreciate you. I will not tear you up or, take the whole bunch, but be very careful about how I gather. And just say thank you. We forget to say thank you for the things that help us, I think. Sometimes we forget to thank. I've been saying plenty of thanks for the rains we've been getting too.
Yes.
We've been praying for it. So, okay, this is, I know some of you have seen this. This is yerba mansa.
Oh, yeah.
And the batch that I picked it from didn't have the beautiful white flowers with the yellow stamens coming up in the middle. Kind of like calla lilies, that yellow part. And so, and they are just beautiful. And this is a very important poulticing plant in the raw state. You can take the whole plant, and even with some root, it has a big fleshy root, which is really full of the, I didn't get it all, I was in kind of a hurry, but it has a long fleshy root that you can wash off, peel off, and slice into little sections and dry it. And then you can reconstitute it in boiling water and then make a poultice out of that when this is down for the winter. But as it is now, you can use the whole plant, cook it up, and it's a drawing poultice for poisonous spider bites and any other kind of infection. It's a drawing type poultice. And I have made an ointment out of it, but to me the leaves and the poulticing are fun to keep up that too. Just in the very raw state, either by the dried root or the fresh or dried leaves. Rose would have us gather it. We'd get out there in the muddy areas with our bare feet and have a little picnic and get down and root those roots out. But in a dry bed, they are really hard to dig. I mean, they really hang on down there. So you have to choose a place that's kind of damp, and it looks like the plant, you might be able to get the whole root. And again, it's a poulticing plant for poisonous things. The old timers used it for rattlesnake bites too.
Wow.
And we had a friend that was bitten by a black widow spider, and he was the type that did not want to go to the doctor. And I said, "Black widow, that's big time. You need to go to the doctor." And he said, no, I'll just wait it out. And his leg was turning black, and it was all swollen. So I I said, Rose, what are we gonna do? And that's when she told me about this. She said, we gotta go get some of this plant. She didn't call it yerba santa, she called it Cupanivi, I believe. Cupanivi. 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 And so we got to get some of that, cook it up, make poultice, and then bring it over. And we did, and we treated it. And we did the first couple treatments with a warm, clean washcloth in the very much reduced fluid of this. And we laid it on his leg as warm as he could stand it, and then remove it, dip it again, repeat. And by 2 hours later, the swelling was starting to go down. And the black was reducing a little bit. And we told him, okay, now you know how to do it. Keep doing it, but you still should go to the doctor. He never did, but it fixed it.
Wow.
And I don't recommend anybody not going to the doctor.
I've seen that plant a lot at the Audubon. Next time we're there, remind me. And
Oh, it's all over the
Yeah.
Audubon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's blooming out there. But where I got this, it's not blooming yet. But in about a week or two, it's going to be covered with the most beautiful. Yes.
When I was down in Alabama, I was about 5 years old. I got